Hey everybody, welcome to Love and Reload, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I'm so blessed and honored to be here with JJ Hershey and Lauren Turner, managing partners at TurnKey Housing. How are y'all doing today?
We're great.
Great, thanks for having us.
This is great. I want to make sure our internet's working on here, so if you can see us, let us know out there here. Fantastic. Let me know, get in the comments here. Yep, very good. Get in the comments here. Let us know. We are live. We got Krista Moore checking in. Hey, friends, happy Monday. What's up, Krista? We're here live in DC.
Yep, we sure are.
It's a lovely summer day here.
It's very hot.
Yeah,
in the district.
It's a little steamy, but that's okay.
For the usual.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I got here and it is a little warm, but I came from Dallas where it was like 102.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
you're
mean,
fine. You're fine.
Yeah. This is yeah. There we go. Drew Phillips. Very cool. Hey, Drew, let me know. Can you hear us there? We got, look at this. Suji Patel, is it? Hey, guys. Hey, what's up? How you doing? Good to see you there. Let's see. Hello from Kansas. Gabriel Wacker checking in. What's up, Gabriel? Can't see anything yet. Okay, cool. Let me work on the internet situation here. Let's see. I'm on the guest network here. But I don't know if I've authenticated yet. So that's like, we got to work on that. Happy Monday. Checking in Paul Convery from Seattle, Daniel McCoy. Hit that like button. Okay, Adam says he can see us. Very good.
Hello.
It looks like it's streaming on my phone, internet. Okay, cool. We'll see how that works for us. Adam, look at that. Keep that going. Make sure we're good to go here. Yeah, we're here. Look at Jack from Philly, Jack Janapel in the house.
Okay, Jack.
What's up, Jack? Keep hitting that like button, y'all. Let us know. This is really cool. Here in DC, we're gonna be in DC all week talking to businesses located here in the district, our nation's capital, one of the most vibrant markets for relocation in the nation. I always love that I read about the best markets, and Texas and Virginia, DC really, are always the two most resilient states, if you will, because of the economy is so strong. And here we are, kind of in a summer where things are weird this summer, aren't they?
Yeah.
What are y'all seeing like in the relocation space? And we'll get to your story and everything like that. But I just want to kind of ask you off the jump. What are y'all seeing from like kind of business this summer compared to like previous summers?
Yeah. I mean, you want to take the reins on that?
Yeah, sure. It's always weird to compare versus the last few years because those were so crazy.
Every year, the last few years has been crazy in its own way.
But I will say that last year felt a little return to normal and was definitely really busy. This year is very, very busy. It feels like back to the normal summers. I mean, the DC summers, like in most major cities, we have a lot of intern activity, which really ramps up our, not relocation business, but corporate housing business. We have a lot of folks moving into the area to take advantage of the break in school, and we're definitely seeing, I would say, a return to pre-COVID times demand on our side of this. Yeah,
some people are, we're obviously, most people I talk to are off significantly from last year. But was last year normal or was it up? Is this normal? Are we at normal, like if we were to say like 2019 levels, if you will, before COVID rocked our world?
I think what you said is correct. I feel like last year, everything was still a little bit bottlenecked from COVID. So I think there were a ton of moves that got placed on hold. And the companies that previously were not moving their employees, all of a sudden were doing it all at the same time. So I think from a relocation standpoint, we saw everything grow tremendously in just 1 year. I think now things are a little bit back to normal. And I think a lot of companies were kind of expecting that to continue to go up and up. But the relocation, we have definitely seen a little bit of a shift in that demand where that has kind of tapered down a bit. However, as JJ mentioned, I think because we have such a diversified client base in the DC market, we're seeing that things just on a whole are really thriving for us, which is great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We got people checking in here. I want to know, what are y'all seeing? Let's ask the audience here. We got Jack, Cindy, Michelle. What's up, Michelle? Michelle gave away 6 bottles of Veuve Clicquot last week on Thursday. So we thank you, Michelle.
That is
You're
very
one of
nice,
our favorites.
Michelle.
Yeah, Selena Rogers checking in. Sauce and Shami here checking in from Jacksonville. what are y'all seeing? Is business off? Is it down? How much is it down? Dana McCoy or House of Goods friends out there, I want to know what your thoughts are. Jack Jampel says relocation business will come back or close to normal, but when, Jack? Zoom just required folks to come back to office at least 2 days a week. So he's inferring that if Zoom's doing it, everybody's going to be doing it.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear.
Zoom is a leading indicator of return to work.
Absolutely.
Well, we've seen most of the big tech companies kind of go away from the work from home all the time and come back into work. So,
which is really interesting because if anybody's going to be remote, you think it's the tech companies.
Yeah,
they were the leaders to get people out of the office, and now they're bringing people back in. So
yeah, I think it's also just going to be no matter what, it will be that hybrid work life. So I think that although maybe they aren't coming in full time, I do think that no matter what, people do want to see their employees face to face in the office. So even if it's not 5 days a week, people who are relocating, they're going to have some sort of hybrid work package where they still need to be in the office at least 1 or 2 days a week.
Yeah, I think it also, it's been a few years now that the data is out there. And I don't know if you saw last week, there's a big study that came out that at least this particular study showed people working in the office were much more productive than people.
Yeah, tell us about this study, because I saw that reference in an article and I'm like, really? Because a lot of the anecdotal stuff we were hearing was people are more productive at home because they don't have to commute and they're working crazier hours because they never unplug and all this. And you're right, now we have years of data, and maybe things that were true at first maybe aren't true over time.
I think like anything, and this is going to be a personal thought, and I think Lauren shares this, a balance is what you need. I can give our company as an example. We are in the office 1 or 2 days. Some of our folks are in every day, our field folks, but the rest work from home and in the office. And you can really feel that 1 or 2 days in the office, is necessary to really connect and hash things out in real time. And it is a lot more productive. But I think also being from home cuts down on commute, especially around here.
Oh, the commute's brutal here.
That saves 2 hours a day sometimes.
People get in cars with strangers here just to like save the commute. I heard about this. That like there's a stop on the side of the road on the way in like Virginia where people just like congregate and wait for a ride.
Yeah.
That's true. I think it used to be called Slug.
Slug. Yeah, like you feel like, isn't this illegal? But not in DC. Like, no, like only like legalized hitchhiking. Like it's like we're just gonna pick people up in parking lots at 7 a.m. and that's normal here in the Beltway. But I mean, that's what people have to do. So I mean, when people have to resort to that was the normal before. You can't. You have to expect that there's going to be quite a bit of pushback to coming in full time. I also heard specifically in DC, I was talking to a government agency worker. This was probably a year ago. He had moved all the way out to West Virginia. When they said you could work remote, he's like, all right, West Virginia, here I come. And so he's like coming to us from his deck out in the woods of West Virginia.
Yeah.
And so his commute in, and then they told me he had to come in, his commute in was like an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's tough. And I think that a lot of people did move during COVID to get more space. They're moving out of the city. And even my husband, for example, he works in the city. He came in throughout COVID and never stopped. But the commute was 50 minutes for a while. Now it's an hour and a half. And he just has to factor that in every day. I do think that having that balance is really, really important. And I think that there's something to be said for working from home on certain days, being uninterrupted when you have something like a project to do, or we're working on something, like on the accounting side. But when it comes to actually, I think, collaborating with your team and your employees, I get kind of sucked in, and I know JJ does as well. And I think a lot of times we're hard to get a hold of. So I think for our team, it's really important to make ourselves available in person for them to ask questions, and then vice versa for us to kind of, go through whatever is going on that week. So I think having that balance is important. I don't think that we would ever go back to doing 5 days a week, but I think getting in person at least 1 or 2 days a week is really important.
Yeah, let's ask the audience. What do you think, audience people, what do you think is the ideal work from home, remote work scheme? Is it 5 days at home? Is it a couple days in the office? Is it 5 days in? I mean, what have you learned through this process about yourself, maybe about your team, I mean, I'd love to hear some of the thoughts around it. Jack saying, what's up, Evan? I see you. Jack saying, results all depend on who is conducting the survey. Jack's always looking at everything with the side eye. He's always the other side of the coin over there.
Yeah, good point.
Exactly.
Good point.
Jack, what are your thoughts? See, Jack's funny because he's saying real volume is going to be bad, but Jack's full-time remote. Jack, which is it? Which side of the coin are we here? Jack's saying hybrid, 3 days of office and 2 at home. I think in this study, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it said something to the effect of they see productivity down for full-time remote, but there's not that same loss of productivity when people are on a hybrid. It's more aligned with the full-time.
Right, I believe that's right. Yeah, and it'll be. I'm sure there'll be more studies that come out. I'm sure some will contradict those findings, but we'll see.
Well, yeah, right here we got somebody contradicting them right now. Michael Quigley says, "For me, it's 7 days a week at home."
Yeah.
But it depends on the line of business.
For the record, we do have an employee that is fully remote and it works out just fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That will come in, every quarter or so. And then of course our field guys are in every day. So
yeah, it depends on the job.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
That's very true. And I think that gets lost in this too, is what is your role? Like Mike's role is to swim around the swimming pool and play golf all the time.
Yeah,
so he can't do that as effectively from the office. So we understand that, Mike.
Yeah, I think one of the other drivers is going to be, and you can see it here in DC, we lost a lot of business in the downtown area, and the mayor and the government here is really, really pushing to reactivate that area. Not just bringing people back into offices, but also converting some offices to residential, but the whole package. I mean, I think there'll be some benefits, tax benefits, financial benefits for companies to get their employees back in, which we're probably seeing now. So
we like that. Tax benefits to get people in. Yeah, loving that. And by the way, Evan says DC is the place to be this week.
Yep.
What's Evan Miller talking about, Lauren?
Well, we do have a local GW ERC event tomorrow, which should be a lot of fun. And Evan's flying in bright and early, so we're pumped to see him tomorrow. But yeah, if anybody wants to go bowling tomorrow, that's the place to be.
Evan, give me 2 reasons why I should come to the GW ERC meeting tomorrow.
Oh, you're putting him on the spot.
I
like how you asked Evan that.
Yeah, give me 2 reasons. There better be a good speaker, Evan. Okay. Who's the speaker?
We actually do have a great speaker. Her name is Mary Claire. She is coming in from the Roslyn, the Business and Information Development,
100%.
the bid, and she will be providing us with updates in regards to Roslyn and what they have coming up in terms of trying to, utilize different businesses and strategic growth in that area. So we're excited to have her.
How much of the business mix around here is like defense, contractors, government, agency stuff, and how much of it's kind of pure corporate? Like, what's that mix look like in your opinion? Just anecdotally, I mean, is this a purely government town, or is there a lot of just regular corporate activity here?
There's a lot of both. I would say on our end, on the corporate housing side, we work a lot with different government agencies. I think that there are a lot of employees that are coming in both in the district as well as in the metro area. They're coming on long-term assignments, so they utilize corporate housing for that. And then also if they're coming in for a permanent change in station, they might need temporary housing for 30 to 60 days. So
permanent change of station, PCS.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
You know it?
Oh, I know my acronyms.
Yes, there you go. So, I mean, for us, I feel like that is a big bulk of our business. However, it's, I think on the corporate side, this is a big hub, obviously with Amazon here and some of the other larger players. So
just name dropping Amazon.
There you go. I know.
Well, corporate Amazon.
Big deal over here now.
How about that? Yeah. That's awesome. That's really cool. And then Evan's chiming in here too. He says, "Oh, this is easy. I give softballs.
Easy.
I don't think I'll put you on the spot. I give you softballs." Right down the middle. Economic development talks and bowling with federal agency mobility managers. And if you want a third, even though I didn't ask, corporate mobility managers too.
Well said, Evan.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Evan, what you omitted is craft beer. Evan, what is the best DC area craft beer in your opinion, Evan? Evan's my beer snob.
Yeah.
Do you have an opinion about this?
I can give you my opinion.
Yeah, please.
I only because I lived there for a while. Port City is probably my favorite local brewery.
Where is Port City?
Out of Alexandria,
Okay.
Virginia, which is right across the river.
I'll be there on Wednesday. We'll be at IM in Alexandria on Wednesday.
Make a great stout.
Port City Stout.
Yeah.
I was looking for a good stout last
Stout,
night.
huh?
There you go. Yeah, maybe today not so great, but in the winter, check it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a dog in this fight?
I do not. I feel like I am a little bit picky. We go to upstate New York and we get like the good Vermont brews.
Okay.
So
As long as you stay away from that Rochester swill, that Jenny swill. They're brainwashing people up in Rochester.
Burlington, Vermont's where it's at when it comes to IPAs. So I can't say anything.
Yeah, Vermont is good. Vermont is good. Francine Dresty, hi Ben and Turnkey team. Great point, Jack. It depends on what you are doing. Francine Dresty is awesome. Culture and how much collaboration is needed. It's great to have flexibility for what fits best for the needs of the company and the teams. Evan says we're going to Highline after the meeting. Beer there is supposed to be good. Cool. And John is saying hybrid, 3 days home, depending, can be a once a month or 4 days a week in office. Love the difference of opinions here. I love that. That's what this is all about. We get to crowdsource. We got London in the house, Richard Majewski. We got Brazil in the house, Jana here. This is fun. This is great. I want to ask y'all though about yourselves personally. Can we get personal for a second?
Sure.
What's your sign? No, I'm just kidding. How did you get into corporate housing? I mean, you're sitting here, you're both managing partners here of this wonderful company. By the way, shout out to you, the apartment I'm staying in is phenomenal.
Great.
Fantastic. I love it. It's really nice. But how did you get into this business? I'm really curious, Lauren.
Yeah, I stumbled into it. Like I feel like a lot of folks out there probably did as well. I was a nutrition and dietetics major in college.
Okay, I want to hear this connection.
No connection whatsoever, other than the fact that I didn't feel like paying for an internship after college for another year. So I am originally from Newburyport, Massachusetts, so North Shore, Massachusetts, and I was ready to start working, went to Boston, got a job at a staffing agency. This was in...
Oh, you came from the staffing business,
for like
role?
2 seconds. I literally worked for, I think, maybe 2 months at this company, and then it was 2008, so everybody got laid off. This is when, the economy was going underwater.
Yeah.
So then I had an apartment in Boston, I had a roommate, I ended up hostessing for a couple months, and then I found a job on Craigslist, and it was,
great place to find work.
Yeah, and it was with a company called Churchill Corporate Services.
Yeah, heard of them.
I walked into a showroom at the time. They were still, I think they were doing rent to own as well as just rental furniture, and walked down. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I thought I was going to be working at like a Bob's Discount Furniture Store. I didn't care.
You didn't care. Just give me a job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
You said this is like 08 time frame?
Yeah. So this was 2009. And yeah, the rest is history. I started off in customer service, went into inside sales after that. And then I worked in inside sales for a while. I ended up relocating to the DC market.
Now, was this the furniture rental space, or were they actually doing
They did both. I ended up
housing?
doing inside sales for furniture rental and corporate housing until I had a mental breakdown because it was so much work and I just couldn't do it anymore. And people would come in to the showroom and be like trying to pick out a couch. I'm like, this is insane. So I ended up veering away from furniture rental world for a while and just did inside sales for corporate housing. And yeah, that's how I got into the industry.
So inside sales for corporate housing means what?
So I was working with an outside sales rep who was working with mainly relocation companies as well as some of the corporates. And anytime she needed a quote for inventory apartments, I basically was there inside support.
Were initiations coming into you too? And like,
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And I helped with the bidding process. And then anytime somebody needed any sort of documentation, lease agreements, anything like that, I'd be sending it out. And I think it was a great place to start. I think starting in, and on the customer service side, and that was when we literally just were writing down the schedule like on a piece of paper. There's no technology whatsoever for that. But learning from there and then going into inside sales, I think is really important just to start and see how that all works. And then, going into other positions throughout corporate housing, I think that is such an important job.
Yeah, inside sales is how I also started in the business. and you really do learn the product inside and out.
Mhm.
You know all the features and benefits, you know all the price points, you know how to compete and sell against all the other, I mean, in your case, properties, and in my case, other moving companies. I mean, you really get your product knowledge. And you know what else you get too that I think is slept on? You get a lot of reps.
Yeah.
You get a lot of repetitions in the role, right? So while as an outside salesperson, I might have 30 meetings or 40 pitches per year, I'm getting that in a day. I'm taking 30 phone calls a day, trying to close each one of them on my moving solution, right?
Absolutely.
And so, and your feature benefit rebuttaling, like you're doing all that kind of stuff. So
that's a good point.
I totally dig that background.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and I think that at the end of the day, outside sales obviously is tremendously important. Every role is, but I think with inside sales, you end up being that single point of contact for a lot of these, not just the contact from the company, but the guest a lot of times, and they're the ones who really need that touch point. And I think, you know, when it comes to, you know, technology and where corporate housing is going to go, I think that role is so imperative, because I think that a lot of, especially guests, people who are the actual transferee, they actually want that specific touch point. So so it's a very important role, and I was lucky to have probably, you know, about 4 years of experience doing it. So
super interesting. Shane Burleson says Churchill in the house. What's up, Shane? How you doing? We got everybody checking in here. It's awesome. Hit that like button. Get in the comments. I want to know how you got started in the business out there. Put it in the comments. JJ, what about yourself? How did you get introduced first?
So similar to Lauren, I didn't know corporate housing existed when I was in college. I was a finance major. I went and pursued my dream of investment banking in New York.
Nice.
That only lasted a year because I worked for a company called Arthur Anderson.
Yes.
From Texas might have known. They blew up in 2001 when I was there because of the Enron scandal, 2002 actually. So the whole company got laid off.
It used to be the big five.
Yeah,
now it's the big four.
Right, yeah. For me, it was a little blessing in disguise. I wasn't crazy about investment banking. I went and worked in finance for General Electric for about 8 years. And then we actually have a third managing partner who happens to be my brother.
Okay.
He kind of grew up in the property management world.
Okay.
And got introduced to corporate housing through some of the bigger companies he worked with. Equity was one of them, the large REIT in the country. And
REIT, define that for us.
Yeah, real estate investment trust.
Okay.
So it's a large publicly traded vehicle that owns usually properties across the country. It can be commercial, it can be residential. Equity happens to focus on the residential side.
Got it.
They had a corporate housing division at the time, so he got introduced there. I was interested in starting my own thing. Kind of drug him along. Corporate housing sounded interesting.
You drugged him?
Drug him along.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. You can come with you. Got it.
Yeah, he didn't have to be.
Whatever it takes. Man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he came with the industry background. I came with some operations and finance background, and we started our own thing 13 years ago. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So you came from managing or being part of this real estate investment trust and seeing it kind of on a really big level, on a macro level, how this could work. And then you kind of came from the inside sales piece kind of up. It makes sense how the two would complement one another.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, Eric, the other managing partner, came from the real estate investment trust. Mine was a finance background.
Okay.
But yeah, I think all of our backgrounds work really well together, which is why, we're here.
So when did you decide, okay, this is a lot of fun doing the inside sales thing, learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What was that light bulb for you to say, okay, I think I want to start my own thing?
Yeah, so I went from there. I did a brief stint at a furniture rental company, and then I helped to open a branch office of another corporate housing company here in DC, and I was there for about 4 years. Honestly, I had my first son, and about a year after that,
You said, I need more work.
I'm just like not working hard enough, so let's just add something else.
Way too much free time.
Yeah, exactly. And then I got pregnant again. So so I actually had an idea for in my first company, which was Sojourn prior to us merging. The original idea was a corporate housing company that was more tech-based that could allow property management teams to offer their own corporate housing. And I think that as I was working for my previous company, I it was a great company to work for and wonderful people. But I think that because I was working pretty hard, I decided, I would rather work for myself. And I felt like there was kind of this niche market for kind of these long-term furnished clients that we weren't really servicing as well.
Yeah.
So Sojourn started from there, and I never really looked back. I think that the technology aspect was a little bit tricky when you're trying to bootstrap the business.
Yeah.
And I was not looking to raise funding. So we ended up pivoting a bit pretty quickly back just to the service side. And we focused more on the long-term furnished housing piece. And this market is so unique because there are so many different companies, as well as the government agencies, embassies, et cetera, that are looking for not just the 30 to 60-day stays, but that less risky corporate housing side too, for those longer term stays. And that's what we really focused on. And that's when Sojourn kind of hit the ground running.
Yeah. It's so interesting because I've seen this, right, where profitability and hyper growth are oftentimes not compatible, and you have to kind of choose one. And I think most people choose profitability, right? And I have, right? And so, and unless you have a ton of money behind you, it's impossible to try to boil the ocean, so to speak, right? But then some people can do it. Some people can make it work, and that's really cool. But we got people checking in here. This is awesome here. We got questions. Hey, if you got questions, put them in the comments here. This is interesting. Got some real tough ones going on.
All right, I'm so nervous.
We got long division. This is really interesting. Show your work. Okay, interesting. Should we just hop into it? Let's get the comments out. First, Tim Quirk, hey, for Hayes. A big hello from rainy Western New York. Tim, we were dogging Jenny cream ales earlier, so I apologize. The opposite of in advance. Just apologize, I guess. Phil Leonard says Lauren and JJ are awesome with like 5 exclamation points. Those are free.
We love you too.
Yeah, Phil's cool. Phil's a friend of the show here. Francine says I also got my start from the property manager side on the East Coast.
Very cool.
Nice, Francine. Is that where you picked up that terrible Philadelphia Eagles affinity you have there, that nasty habit? Love you, Francine. Just hate the Eagles. I think we can all agree.
I won't comment on that. I mean, is that allowed? Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah, 100%. We take sides.
Lose any friends
We
over
100%
there,
take
but-
sides here. No, they're still friends. But we just, we're just
All right.
show.
Agree to disagree.
Go Birds. She says, "Are you an Eagles fan?"
No, not at all.
She's-
Sorry, I didn't mean to say it so aggressively.
Well,
but
Jack's an Eagles fan too, and he's on here too. But it's
Patriots
okay.
fan, come on.
Patriots fan. Oh my gosh, this is kind of.
I mean, I actually like the Redskins or Washington football team, whatever they're called now, but like
The
they're such an
Commanders for now.
underdog one day that.
What about yourself? Do you have an alliance here?
I was a huge Giants fan growing up. Still somewhat a Giants fan. So my Eagles dislike comes honestly, and I grew up in Pennsylvania, so it's tough.
Yeah. Well, that's another story. Yeah. Look at this. Even the guy from England saying "Go Birds." You know what, Richard? Take a walk, Richard. Okay, you don't even know what you're talking about. Get out of here. Oh man, Philip saying no Philly cracks. When did we get a big Eagles contingent on this show? I thought it was very clear. All right, Richard Majewski says, how I got into hospitality. Now, age 64, I fell into the sector. Don't break it up. As Sheridan needed a German speaker, but I just wanted money to go clubbing. I still do a great moonwalk. Richard, I love you. Give him a hug. That's funny. He got into moonwalk. All right, Jack's got a question for us here. Oh, Richard first here. Richard says, does TurnKey specialize in a particular market? So corporate, or maybe politicians, diplomats. Does the name TurnKey indicate more flexibility than other corporate housing companies? These are softballs, people.
Sure. Well, we don't specialize in any market in corporate housing. We serve corporate clients, government clients, and we do intern housing as well. So anyone needing temporary housing for an extended period of time, we're here for you.
With the government clients, do you have to like specific contracting vehicles, like GSA, things like that, or is it just kind of like they just buy like from the like open market? Like,
yeah, it works both ways. There are some contracts that are GSA related. There is a lot of government business that is not on a contract; it's more referral based. So
as long as you're under the per diem or whatever, you're good.
Exactly, yeah, and it works a little differently than corporate business because of that per diem. The per diem changes throughout the year. And one of the big things is the flexibility. Getting the flexibility is government reload clauses are important to that business because people will, get a change of orders or get a quick, change of where they need to be. So we do offer those for that flexibility.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jack's got a question. Jack says, could you share a story of how TurnKey exceeded a client's expectations?
Ooh, that's a great question. I can give one that just happened.
Great.
This is something small, but I actually think that very small items can sometimes go a long way.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a client that has a group, it's kind of a group housing client, and they needed to use the lounge and reserve the lounge, which we'll do for folks. And this is the second time they used it, and they thought that the air conditioning was a little too cold in that room.
Too cold?
Yeah, too cold for their comfort. Which happens, and we worked with the property staff throughout the week to make sure that the temperature was just right when they got there.
In the lounge?
In the lounge, yes. So
That is asking a lot. That's asking a lot.
So not a space that we control, but we're here to make their lives easier, and if that makes their lives easier, then it does. They had that meeting last Friday in the lounge, and it was great, and they loved it, and they said the temperature was perfect.
What are they using the lounge for?
So this is an intern group that is here for the summer. So they hold events every once in a while with a group, just educational events, speaker series. I think this one was a speaker series. So.
True or false? Interns are a pain in the butt.
False.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. There you heard it there. She takes the fifth. All right.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. No,
I think that they're no more difficult. Every once in a while you get somebody that's a little bit more demanding than other times, but I don't think that that's siloed into the intern housing group whatsoever.
Yeah, everyone has unique needs.
Yep.
Just thinking about my air conditioning. All right, Francine says we got the NFC covered. Richard saying go Steelers. I'm confused. He's just over there in England, big English. Man City fan. What's up? How they doing, Richard? I don't even know. Tim Quirk, Jenny Cream Ale and cockroaches will be the last thing standing after the apocalypse. That's hilarious.
That's true.
See you and me in a bomb shelter, just splitting a warm Jenny Cream Ale. Feeling lucky for it. That's a bad day. I'll tell you what. That is a bad day. We were talking a little bit before, and I think this is love and reload, right? So it's also about like kind of our personal lives and like how we do what we do, And you mentioned before, Lauren, when you started your company, you'd had your son, your first son, you're pregnant again, and now you have 3 kids. How do you do that? How do you manage, the work-life balance aspect? We hear a lot about work-life balance. It's very in vogue right now. I don't know if I believe it or not. I don't know if I buy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But how do you do that?
I think that you have to do like what works for you and your family.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started my business, I love this space. I really do. I wouldn't have started my own company if I didn't love corporate housing. I think once you fall into this industry, it's really hard to pull yourself out of it. The pace of it, everything. And when I started Sojourn, I think that I had those moments, especially when my kids were really young, and I had that mom guilt. And I think you see what other people are doing, maybe on social media, or I have a lot of, I know a lot of women who stay at home, and I think that you can't compare yourself at all to anybody else. I think you have to do what works for you, what works for your family. I think the comparison, is like your worst enemy. So I think trying to just keep to what works on your level. I think, for me, having that balance where we're in the office a few days, I travel, usually I try to limit to once a month at the most. And it's great. It's like I am able to pick my kids up from camp when I'm working from home. And then there are nights where I'm on my computer till 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So I think that there is never going to be any perfect balance. I think that people can write a million books and give you all this advice as to what works for them, but really you just have to kind of look internally and see kind of what your perfect balance, so to speak, would be.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that the different ages of your children, it's just the demand that you have from them. that ebbs and flows as well. So I think what works for me right now probably didn't work for me even 2 years ago, when my kids were really little. Now everybody's out of diapers, so hallelujah. And so it's like, I don't know, it's like a little, it's baby steps, but yeah, I would say you just got to do what works for you.
All right, I'm going to ask you a real question here. Like, do you feel like we ask women this question and we don't ask men this question? Like, is it like I don't know how many kids you have. Jay, you have one. Yeah. Like, and I never asked JJ, I'm like, how do you do it? Being a dad, I'm running a business, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, is it like, are we like unfair to women in asking this question when we don't ask men the same question?
I think that it would be wonderful if we could bridge the gap between.
All right, so then you stop talking. Yes. JJ, what is it like to run a business? No, I'm just kidding. But no.
You're right. I don't think it should be so siloed into just like the way it works for women, because I know that JJ is a very involved father, and that he, him and his wife kind of tag team a lot with their daughter. So, my struggles are probably the same as his. He's picking his daughter up from daycare during the day. He's not just hanging out at the office all day till 10 o'clock at night.
But a lot of studies have shown that even when women are the primary breadwinner in a family, they still do more than their partners do and at home. I mean, I've seen studies, I can't quote them exactly, but and so I think the question may be kind of rooted in that to some degree. I mean, plus, you physically carry these children, whereas like you carry them now, but you don't. But what I mean. So it's like I just wonder like if we should reframe it. I guess I'm saying. Would you like it to be reframed, that question, or do you appreciate the empathy of the question?
Yeah, I think that it's a little bit of both. I think that there is the one piece of it. I think that there's like you can split the duties, right? You can say like, oh, someone's got to take them to daycare, someone's got to take them to a doctor's appointment. But I think that the emotional impact on a mom, a working mom, especially not being home, I think that that's something that you carry throughout the day. I think that no matter what, I'm thinking about, my son's first day at camp today, and I love my husband, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't even know where he is. Yeah, it's fine.
Should we call him up right now and give him a shout?
Sorry.
Like, what's on your mind right now?
Yeah, it's definitely not that. It's definitely not that. So I think that most of the time for women, and sometimes it's, I think that there are situations where the dad is more involved and the woman's working more. I have a family member who's been like that for the last 4 years, where the dad has been kind of home with the kids a little bit more than his wife has. So I don't think that it's always just the working mom, so to speak, but I definitely think that that is one piece that I have noticed, that no matter how many like physical things we can try to navigate together and go 50-50 on, that piece will always be a big, not burden, but it is a big aspect that you have to kind of juggle day to day for sure.
Yeah. Jack's weighing in here. Thanks, Jack, for weighing in. He says, I don't think it's unfair. Let's be honest. Women do more. And I think they do. And I think as long as they do, it's kind of a fair question to ask. But I mean, there's an assumption baked in there that women have to do both, whereas men can kind of get away with, but not you, JJ. Like the royal men. I just wanted to ask that.
Well, you have a family too, it's like you.
Not thinking about it at all.
There you
Honestly,
go. There's
the answer. I might FaceTime later.
You're trapped.
What they're doing.
Very honest.
No, you're trying to be nice, but I mean, no, it's a different level of commitment than my wife has. But I mean, I do love it more like
well, that's good. That's important.
Yeah, more abstractly though. This is cool. Okay, we got some more questions coming off. We get off this awkward topic here. Richard's saying, have there been any changes since COVID? Richard, you're great. Have there been any changes since COVID? More pet friendly, sustainable policies? What are some of the changes you're seeing in corporate housing since COVID? I do have to plug this in. So.
Peter's gonna die.
It's a kind of urgent. But any changes since COVID?
I will say I think we're a little bit more hyper focused on the quality of what we are putting in the apartments, because people are spending so much more time in the apartments. So one standard, it used to be like always have a sleeper sofa. Now it's like you have to have a desk in the apartment. Like people cannot just work from their
I noticed I had a desk in the corner of my bedroom there, and
that's
it was
a
like,
standard for us.
and that's now standard. Yeah, desk and a chair.
Yeah. So certain aspects like that, I think that are very important. I think just even like knowing where their amenities are in the building, people are just spending more time there. So I think you have to really put in that attention to detail.
Yeah, I would say the work from home is definitely the biggest, and the biggest thing we can feel. It's interesting you bring up the pets. That more communities are becoming pet friendly, but I feel like that's just from a business perspective. So many people have pets that if a property is not pet friendly, they're automatically
Like excluded.
No,
Like that's a box you can check. Like pet friendly. It's a filter now.
70% of people, or whatever.
Is that true?
No, I don't think that's
Can
true.
we get a stat? Can somebody with a little more time on their hands look up what percentage of people have pets now compared to pre-COVID?
We should take a guess. What do you think it is?
Let's guess.
Yeah.
All right, I think it's. I really need to put this in. I think with pet. Well, what are we counting as a pet? Are we counting goldfish? Are we taking those out?
Cat or dog?
Yeah.
Cat or dog? Okay, fair.
Uncaged animals.
Uncaged animals. What about like a rabbit?
Untanked animals.
How about a pet is something that if you don't come home at the end each night, that pet's going to be in trouble.
Yes, or a pet that the people on the property would eventually know that you have.
Yes.
How about that?
Or they might be excluded because with snakes and lizards, they don't fall under like the same no pet clauses, do they, or do they?
It varies in the community. Yeah.
Okay. Are they discriminated? Are they a discriminated class of animal?
I mean, I would hope so. But
I would hope so. She's very. We have an anti-lizard.
Yes.
I
Anti-snake.
had every single pet in the world growing up, but yeah.
Okay,
It's not
fine.
happening.
We'll just say cats and dogs. What
Cats
percentage
and
of people have cats and dogs?
In apartment living or in general?
No, in general. In general.
Life.
general.
Okay.
People with cats and dogs in general. You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. First, look, I feel like my experience is skews though, because we all have our own biases. I do not own a pet. Do you own a pet?
I do not.
Do you own a pet?
I do.
Okay. Cat or dog?
A dog.
Okay. Just want to see what kind of person you are.
Yeah, I reviewed judge
Okay.
by myself.
I'm judging you right now. All right. So, okay. By the way, we have the answer now.
Oh,
I can't. I have to exclude myself. I have to.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm out because I just. And
Oh,
Francine,
okay.
how does that compare to pre-COVID numbers? I mean, what's the date on that study, Francine? Francine
This is
just
right
did the homework.
now. Okay.
This is-
Percentage?
yes.
Okay. I am going to say 62% of people have pets.
62%.
Yes.
I like how specific it was.
Yeah.
0.5.
I should have had you write this down so now it doesn't affect your judgment.
I was going to go with 52. Now it seems like I'm
Look at that.
guessing here too. I'll go 53%.
Imagine like that was the difference, like that 53.
Yeah.
I was gonna. No, I wasn't. I don't know.
You're
what
going
I
to
was
say
gonna
like 5%.
I'm going to tell you I was going to say the right number.
Yeah, you're going to say exactly.
All right, Francine Dresty. Shout out to Francine. Love Francine. Really redeeming her Eagles fandom. 2023, June 21st, 2023.
Wow.
Dang.
Thanks,
You did a
Francine.
job,
That is very
Francine.
recent.
You want to come be our stats information person? Says, according to Forbes Advisor, 66% of U.S. households own
Wow.
a pet. You nailed
Nailed
it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You nailed it.
All right. Take it.
We need to plug this in here real quick here. Can we?
Yeah.
Would you, JJ? Would you grab that plug right there here? There we go. Sometimes I forget to plug in the computer. No, is there another one over here? There's really not.
Nope.
That's really funny. Funny, not funny. All right. Well, we're just gonna go until we can't go
All
anymore.
right. We may just
That's the way this is gonna go.
conk out at some point.
Cool. You know what? Let's see. How are we doing here? Yep. Let me see if we got any other questions here. Michelle says most of our requests have pets. Do you feel though, Michelle, like that can you give me some data on that? Can you look in your inbox at like your last 20 or something? Give me like some data on that. She says most of our requests have pets. Do you feel that most have pets?
No, I wouldn't say most, and it's.
Does it skew towards people like homeowners?
It probably also,
Yeah,
if
I would
you're
imagine it
like,
does,
for
yeah.
instance, if your main clients are relocation, if someone's a transferee, then obviously they're going to be bringing a pet because they're going to be there full time. I think our market being, we have a lot of different client segments. A lot of people are just on long-term assignments, so they're not bringing their pets.
That's
Okay,
right.
we got 2 questions here. I want to make sure we get these in. Francine Dresty says, in which areas do you have the most of your inventory?
Yeah, most of our inventory is in DC and in Arlington and Alexandria, Virginia.
So DC, Northern Virginia.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other areas that you want to advertise?
There's a lot of other spots. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're nationwide. So we have clients that have needs. Most of our clients are based here, some are not, but we service anywhere throughout the US, typically for any stays 3 months or longer.
Okay, cool. So you kind of do bespoke solutions.
Correct, yep.
Cool. Jack Champel says, do you have a story on a damage to a unit beyond normal expectations? That's a very knowing
Yes.
look right there. What does it mean?
Well, of course, yes.
Yes, we had a recent one.
I'm sorry, I put a hole in the wall. Okay, I didn't mean to. I fell over last night. It's not about me.
It's not about you,
Never
but
mind.
that is actually, you just hit the nail on the head. So
Was that? Well, tell us the story.
I don't know if there's a story. There's,
A million stories.
I have had.
What's the most egregious example?
I had an apartment that we walked and it was pretty horrific afterwards, just based on the
Just the
it was just
cleanliness
so
factor?
uncleanly. Yes.
Yeah.
Holes in the wall and stuff.
We
like
had a
that, like
story
part
one
of the
time of
course.
somebody who built a garden in their unit with soil on
There
the
you go.
floor.
Yeah,
Really?
I would take that any day
I
over what I
know,
saw.
something like
I was
that.
traumatized from what I saw.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, we had one of ours. We had a house, a townhouse that had an outdoor area, and they had pets. Speaking of pets, and they were there for 18 months, and they did not clean up after their pets
At all.
at all. And this is during the very early days, so I ended up cleaning up the yard.
Very early days.
Yeah,
You don't do that anymore. You don't hand clean backyard.
Yeah, every
Sometimes,
once in a while.
yeah. Every once in a while, but yeah, that was
Yeah, they come with a doggy bag, but
Have you ever had a situation where someone like modified the unit in a way, like where like maybe with their own furniture, or took yours out, or rearranged everything? I mean, is that ever happened to you?
We don't have furniture being brought in a lot. Every once in a while, yes, we'll show up and there'll be a surprise piece in the unit. But that doesn't happen a lot. We've had some damage more along the lines you were probably thinking. We had a guest that broke a toilet 3 times while they were living there.
3 times?
Yeah, 3
Is this a
separate
clog situation or broke the porcelain?
No, actually broke the
shattered.
porcelain, yeah.
Shattered.
So we're not exactly sure how it happened, but it's a kind of a unique thing to happen
3 times?
3 times.
How long was the stay?
Let's see, it was 6 months-ish. It wasn't super short, but.
Yeah, that's a lot of times. I've gone my whole life without doing that, and I'm a larger man, so I think if anyone was gonna break it, oh, this is great. Let me ask this question. Francine says, do you find that corporate or government folks leave their apartments in better condition? You're not calling anybody out particularly. What do you think?
no comment.
I don't see a huge difference. There are.
I'm going government.
Yeah, there
I'm
are
going
folks
government. We did some work for the postal service back in the day when I was in the moving business, and those employees always had the craziest moves. Somebody like swung on one of the movers.
Yep.
They're
Yeah.
like smoking something in a glass pipe. It wasn't
It just
marijuana.
totally depends on the
Exactly.
person, and
Yeah.
it's like, who knows where they're coming from, but if they are not in the right state of mind, then sometimes the apartments have to suffer from it.
Shane says, I once had a guy park 2 motorcycles inside his apartment living room.
Oh wow, really? Okay.
How did they get it up there?
I mean, the stairs. You should have seen the stairs.
Yeah, yes. Just do a couple
Just
wheelies all the way
gotta,
up.
crank it, that's all.
Right.
You know? This is great. This is fantastic. Let's see if we can get into an overrated, underrated real quick here, okay? Let's see here. Oh, this is fun. Okay, let's get into overrated, underrated. Y'all know how to play this game? We don't have much time here. All right. I'm gonna give you a topic. You're gonna say if it's overrated or underrated. You both have to share the same topics. That's just the way the game's going.
Okay.
You have 2 options. You can say overrated, underrated, and then I get to tell you if you're right. All right, here we go. 18 holes of golf, overrated or underrated? JJ?
I think it's overrated.
Lauren?
Overrated.
I agree. I can't make it past the
Fine,
turn.
fine, come
Like,
on.
I'll be back here at the 19th.
Yeah, who decided? Who
I go 1
decided
through 9,
4
then I
hours?
go to 19, and then I'll see you later.
Okay.
All right, cool. Your specified college or your major? JJ?
I think that's definitely overrated. Yes.
Lauren?
Overrated. I mean, hence here I am as a
Yeah.
nutrition major doing nothing with it. Other than I feel
But
like
you're
I'm
like,
pretty
you
healthy.
eat probably properly.
Yeah, I eat healthy.
And you
It's
probably
true.
balance your checkbook
I
quite
know.
well.
He does that. He does a good job.
Yeah, so you're still
Right.
using it. I was an English major. But I was like, what are you going to do with that? I'm like, I'm going to talk for a living.
I guess
Right,
we should
in-house?
specify underrated for your career path.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially non-technical now. If
Non-technical.
you're a doctor,
Overrated.
right?
Overrated
Yeah.
for your career
But
path.
you know what's funny about the technical ones is they can't do anything else.
Yeah.
Like if you work, I mean, I guess you could. I
Yeah,
don't know. Forget this technical people.
yeah, overrated.
I mean, here's one for you. MBAs.
I don't have one, so I feel like I can't really comment on it.
Yes, you
but,
can. 100%. You don't have to have a well-founded and well-thought-out opinion
Okay,
on the
okay,
show.
all right. I would probably say underrated. I think if you're gonna go for your MBA, you are definitely doing something with it. If you don't, that's like such a waste of money.
So you think the MBA is underrated? You think more people should go get their MBA?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I think it's both. I think more overrated.
Yeah.
I think from
Do you have an MBA?
I do not. I think from a learning perspective, it's overrated. I think if you go to the right school, the networking part of it
Yeah.
could be like life changing.
I have a theory on degrees.
Yeah.
If you have it, you value it more highly than people who don't.
Of course, yeah.
Especially, I'm looking at you lawyers.
Mhm.
Okay.
Human psychology.
So smart.
Overrated, underrated, manicures, JJ?
I have never had one, so I cannot comment.
Yes, you can.
I guess I don't have an MBA either.
Exactly.
I'm sure you got.
Underrated? I don't know.
You're just being nice.
Should
JJ.
go with underrated? We'll
I
go
mean,
with
well, you don't have one. Why would you call it underrated?
I don't know. My wife has tried
Many,
to talk me
many-
into
Yeah.
because she says they're great.
Manicures or pedicures?
Manicures.
Okay. I know a lot of men get pedicures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Overrated, underrated manicures.
Manicures are